I'm not sure if I've said this little simple cheat yet on one of these videos, but when in doubt, when you're trying to guide someone's eye through balloon to balloon, welcome to Cloudtown Tuesday, the day where I share a page from my graphic novel Cloudtown and tell you about the process of making it. It's like a editor's commentary on a DVD. So here it is. Let's go. Let's do it.
So how big are these pages when you're drawn? They're like 14 inches?
Well, these ones I drew all digitally. So
Oh,
they're on
okay.
a 12-inch iPad.
Okay. Wow. Yeah.
I've been drawing the rough drafts of things. Oh, this one didn't come through. I've been drawing the rough drafts of things digitally.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Um, and then moving, let's try this one. All right, that looks like there's something there. And then moving to physical print, and I print on like an 11 by 14 page and go from there. These under drawings that I'm using are recycled from the original pitch. And I
Yeah.
drew those on I started those on 8.5 by 11 printer paper with pencil, and
Right.
then I scanned them in. Um, and I'm using that in this case, it turns out, as a shortcut. Oh wait, this is the page we already did.
Yeah.
No, no, it's the page right before it. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
the page
you're right.
right
The
before.
page
This is
before
page
it.
34. I'm using that as a shortcut to figuring out the placement of the different part of the was it Stormcatcher? But I
Yeah.
end up redrawing it all anyway, it turns out.
Well, this is the page where I really do like the foreshortening. It reminds me of the work of Bern Hogarth, who drew Tarzan, the original Tarzan comic strip, which is probably even better than the books. But he would always have one arm or one leg way forward.
I do love cartoony foreshortening. I hadn't really realized how much of, like, cartoon foreshortening has influenced other art forms because it's beyond what's natural, but it gives a more extreme impression. And, even I mean, I don't use this, but the Manga Studio has these 3D models you can import and trace over, and some
Mhm.
people enjoy doing that.
Hmm.
Um, and when you put the models in, they have a mode to do extreme cartoony foreshortening, so it kind of creates a false kind of fisheye experience for these 3D models.
Cool.
But when I think I might have mentioned this on a previous episode, but when I showed my first pitch of Cloudtown to Jim Rugg, who's the creator of Street Angel and of Cartoonist Kayfabe fame, a great artist. He said that perspective is kind of a next level thing in cartooning. Like, it's a fundamental that's it's a later fundamental, right?
Uh-huh.
If you can get the beats down in the story and good clear illustration, that's a start. But he's
Yeah.
like, if you're going to do giant robots and giant monsters, learning a little more about perspective could do a lot. And
Yeah.
so I did my best to take that to heart and try to pay attention to how other artists did that. James Stokoe, who has done some Godzilla comics, but I think his best examples of really doing impressive perspective of big creatures and small people is his Orkstain comics, which is an adult book, but it's called Orkstain. If you are over 18, I highly recommend it. It's very funny.
Oh, yeah.
And
I'm over 18.
good, good. I thought so. I was just checking. Um, yeah. But then this is a pretty simple page. A lot of the pages I've been doing lately are a lot more like this, like the 1-2 panels, like 2 to like 4 panel big pages.
Yeah.
While most of this book, Cloudtown, is extremely dense, like so many more panels a page.
The page just disappeared. But what I liked was the little vehicle at his foot because you're led into his foot, and so the vehicle like reinforces the idea that he's gigantic.
Thanks. Yeah, I also I was using more photo reference by the time I got to the late stages of this book, so I definitely spent a good while googling different kind of motorcycles,
Mhm.
ones that both um I just like the shape of, but could look a little futuristic. So photo reference is helpful. Like, I'm trying to see where I was figuring out the placement for this character. When did I originally decide to make it like so at first maybe it was gonna be 2 panels up and down? I wonder why I made that jump. I mean, the nice thing is this allows you to have a conversation between the 2 characters in which you can see both the characters, and it adds that perspective. And
One
it adds
thing,
a little bit of suspense for this creature.
yeah, one thing that took me a while to get used to myself is like putting a balloon over a cartoon balloon, a voice balloon over a part of a figure that I'd really drawn well. I would hate to do that. But then I
Yeah.
just look at the masters and you don't always see the figures there. Very often it's somebody else is putting in the lettering, but I just would always sort of keep it so Popeye style, where it was like a theater and the balloons would be outside and they would never interrupt any of the figures or the faces. But there's only so much room on the page. You got to do it sometimes.
Is that during your Toon Book time, or is that prior to that?
No, yeah, I'd say even during my tune book time, even lately, as I'm drawing. Yeah, tune books are actually they're so simple. There's room on the page, and they're horizontal, so there's room on the page. On a vertical page, it's harder to get a figure and the dialogue.
I'm not sure if I've said this little simple cheat yet on one of these videos, but when in doubt, when you're trying to guide someone's eye through balloon to balloon, they're going to read the next closest balloon. So even if it's one panel over, you have a risk of like if the second
Mhm.
panel was where that monster's face was, I'd be at risk of making, if Dr. White's second sentence there in the bottom right was up closer to where that face was, I'd run the
Mhm.
risk of people reading Terry and then Dr. White's second word and then Dr. White's first word.
Yeah,
So, um, reading, left to right, up to down, or vice versa if you're doing, a non-Western style comic, uh, is the baseline, is the instructions for reading a comic, but the average person will just glide right next to the nearest
yeah.
adjacent comic panel or balloon. So keep that in mind. All right, so that's page 38.